Well, hello, webheads and comic collectors everywhere. This is your Instagram friend, Fan of Comics 77. Make sure to follow on YouTube as well. Just type in Fan of Comics 77 and voila. What we'll be talking about today is Spider-Man villains, who, in my opinion, has the best roster of villains from top to bottom. Well, X-Men is way better than Batman is way better. All right, first of all, relax. Okay, we're gonna be talking about my favorite villain, and it's this man right here, Mr. Tombstone. For those of you who aren't familiar, Mr. Tombstone was a troubled youth growing up in Harlem, New York. Went to high school with Joe Robbie Robertson and was picked on because he's an African American albino. So being an albino, don't you think he's pissed? Growing up, getting picked on, being bullied, he got into a lot of fights. So eventually, his fighting skills grew up with his height skills. This guy became 6'7", trained himself by getting into local street fights, killing his opponents, basically beating them to death, and became a hired gun for intimidation factor because he was an albino. Sharpened his teeth to a point and sharpened his fingers to a point. So while he's causing a wrecking havoc amongst the world, he gets into a little beef with this man right here, Spidey, in Atlanta. They get down in Atlanta. Spidey beats him, defeats him, sends him to jail. On his way to jail, we find out that Mr. Robertson, who he went to high school with, also is in trouble and is going to jail. Tombstone hears of this, gets himself transferred to the same jail where Robertson is, so he can come up with the plan to take out the webhead. So this cover right here is Tombstone talking to Robertson, trying to convince him to take out Spidey for him, but Robertson just won't do it because of his loyalty to the webhead. Next cover we get into, once they are in jail, Robertson had a nice friend named Bruiser, for protection. Bruiser gets in a squad with Tombstone. Spidey has his hands full with Hammerhead. This one right here kind of reminds me of Rocky 4 for all you Rocky 4 fans. This one right here, Tombstone kind of looks like Drago whacking Bruiser the way Drago whacked up Apollo Creed. I must break you. Anyways, I got this when I was a kid. Found this one about 6 years ago. Really stuck with me. First time I actually felt for a supporting character in Bruiser. I really felt bad for him. If you guys want a good read, this is a good one right here. And again, for all you Rocky fans, this one right here. Then we get into it. They're still in the jail. Tombstone decides to take on Spidey himself one-on-one. Now look at this one. Spidey all shackled up. Tombstone just wailing on him. Now if you look closely, right around Tombstone's forehead, he's got beads of sweat. So that means he's been going at it for a while, and he's going at it hard. He just wants to destroy the webhead. This is a good article right here. This is a good issue right here, I'm sorry. This one right here, Spidey was almost beaten to it within an inch of his life until Robertson comes in and saves him. After that, Tombstone goes missing for a while, but then reappears and wants to finish his fight with Spidey. But look at him. He's freaking huge. Came out looking like Barry Bonds. This issue right here, there's a 3-part issue. I don't have all 3. I only have 2. Death of Tombstone Part 1. And then Death of Tombstone Part 2 with an appearance of Flash Thompson. But in the midst of my comic collecting, I'm still missing the 3rd part. And in the middle of this, when I was collecting all the Tombstone appearance, I thought to myself, when was his actual first appearance? And for all you webheads out there and comic collectors, Tombstone makes his first appearance in Web of. Boom, black suit. So that's about it. Webheads, talking about my favorite character of all time, Mr. Tombstone. And for all you comic collectors out there, I say again, be good to each other and happy hunting.